Hello everyone, my name is Cameron Pollard, the Student Council President at Vicksburg High School. It is with much pleasure that I welcome each of you that are tuning into this video. Today I have the great honor and opportunity to interview an individual that is essential to the educational system and to students all around Vicksburg, Mississippi. None other than the Superintendent for the Vicksburg Warren School District, Dr. Holloway. How you doing, Dr. Holloway?
Doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I thank you for coming. How does it feel to be the superintendent of the one and only Vicksburg Warren School District?
Well, first, it's an honor and privilege to serve the students and the community. This is a great community. I have been in 6 other school districts, and this one is the best I've been in, and I'm just glad to be here and work for the students and try and make things better for the students of the school district.
Okay, so if you could point out one thing that you love about our school district, what would that be?
I enjoy seeing our kids take advantage of the opportunities that they have in our school district, and I enjoy watching them be successful. And graduation is my favorite day of the year, so those are a few of the things that I like, but I really enjoy seeing our kids take advantage of everything that we offer in the school district.
So I believe this made your second year as our superintendent, and I believe you're heading on for many, many more years to come. What is your vision for our school district?
So I want to continue to focus on preparing students for life after graduation, and I want to make sure that our students are exposed to all the opportunities that are out there that they want to explore, anything that they're interested in, because our job as educators is to prepare students for life after school, so students can have a productive and fruitful life after they leave us. So that's kind of where I want to continue to focus on during my time.
Okay, and we see a lot of that going on right now. As a senior, I've been at this school since I was a freshman, and I see things being added year after year after year. In these past 2 years, which you have been in office, I have seen a lot more come in. So thank you so much for your dedication with that. What would you consider the most significant accomplishment in your first 2 years as our superintendent?
Well, this one does not directly impact students, but one of the things that I'm proud that we have done is we have financially, we're stable now. We're in a good situation financially, to the point now where we can start adding more programs for students in the future. So just getting the finances in order, they were okay when I arrived here, but I wanted to make it where we were comfortable doing more things for our kids. So that's probably been one of the toughest and proudest things, is making sure that financially we're stable, and now we can move forward and continue the vision of the district.
That's amazing. I remember a board meeting, Mrs. Sturgis and yourself were mentioning that we were once in the red, but now we're in the black. Yes. I bet that feels great.
It does, yes, sir. We have a healthy fund balance, and what that is, you have a checking account and then you have a savings account, and you always want a healthy savings account, and now we have a really healthy savings account. So if we want to spend a little bit out of checking account, now we feel comfortable doing it. Yeah, so we're good now, yes, sir.
Okay, can you share a specific initiative or program? I know you mentioned many programs, but could you share a specific initiative or program that has been really successful under your leadership?
So we have re-emphasized Leader in Me and the 7 Habits. I understand how important that is for students. After they leave, those things will help them be successful in life, in their personal life, in their professional life. So just re-emphasizing that. We were doing it before I got here, but we placed an emphasis on it since I've been here. And I think that will pay off. Students don't always get how important that is, but one day they're gonna look back and say, hey, I appreciate now the educators who tried to teach me how to put first things first. I'm a superintendent, been an administrator for a long time, and I still use those same habits to this day, and they help me be successful.
Yes.
Help me to be successful in my role. So helping to re-energize our efforts around Leader in Me has been big because, again, you don't always see it, but those things pay off for students in the long run.
Yes, and I can attest that Leader in Me plays a major role, especially those 7 habits.
Yes.
You use those every day.
Yes.
So you mentioned how you've been in leadership a while. I know you've been a coach, you've been an assistant principal, assistant superintendent, superintendent.
Yes.
I know you have something that you use to measure the level of success, whether you're in a school or in a district. What metrics do you use to measure that success?
The most important thing for me is the positive impacts that I have on students. Where they're seeing a former student out with a job that they dreamed about or that they made mention about, where they're seeing a student who had some issues with discipline get better and graduate and go on to be productive. My success is around the success of the students, and then the other part of that is seeing people who I work with grow in their leadership and go on and be productive leaders. I've worked with a lot of people over the years who are now superintendents, they're assistant superintendents, they're principals. So those 2 things are how I measure my success, my impact on people. My mission statement, I have a mission statement from the 7 habits, just like we ask our teachers to do. And my mission statement is about having a positive impact with those who I interact with every day and adding value to people's life. So I measure my success by the success of the students and the adults that I work with.
Wow, that's really important. You don't have many leaders that measure their success by the people that they mentor. So that's amazing to hear. How are you adapting to the curriculum that we have to meet and the challenges that lie within them?
Well, it's been easy. Because I've done so many different jobs and been in different districts, that was the benefit of me coming here. I brought a wealth of experience, and there's not much that I have not dealt with in the school district. Whether, when I was assistant superintendent for operations, I pretty much touched every part of the school district, and then we consolidated. So we had to go through a lot of financial things. So there's not much that I have not dealt with. So coming here, the only challenge was adjusting to the culture of Vicksburg Warren. So and that's what a good leader does. Is I come in and adjust. I shouldn't come in changing a whole bunch of stuff. It's about how can I fit in and then impact the things that we're doing that's good, that's already in place.
So are you enjoying our culture?
Oh, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. The challenges that we have, because we're no different than any other school district. We have challenges just like the other 136 school districts in the state do. So I'm enjoying working with the people. And, my job involves some tough decisions and tough conversations that people don't fully understand why you have to do the things that you do, but every decision, every move that we make is around what's best for kids and what's best for our students, even if the adults don't always agree with it. Sometimes we have to agree to disagree. And
even we don't sometimes.
That's right, even the kids don't, so that's a great point. Yes, sir.
Okay, and speaking of important things and, the students, one of the major I'll say things dealing with curriculum is technology. We went from a paper district, now we're more, I don't know the correct terminology, but we're basically a computer district.
Yes.
What is the role of technology with our curriculum and in our school district?
So that's a great question. We are currently advertising for a position that will work directly with our teachers on integrating technology, because here's what technology use in school is not. Technology use in school is not sitting kids in front of a Chromebook for 90 minutes on a block schedule or however minutes you're in class and saying you're using technology. Technology is not using that smart board up there to teach kids something. That's not using technology. Correct. Technology is is causing kids to engage with the technology to create something to learn in a productive way. Right now, some of our educators use technology as a babysitter. So what we hope to do is have this person work with our teachers on how to truly infuse technology into their lessons, where it's not a babysitter. Kids are not sitting at Chromebooks, hiding their phones behind the Chromebook, texting people in other classes, because I know that's what happens. I walk the halls, I see what's going on, and I'm a realist about that, but that's not technology use. So that's something we'll be focusing on next year, is how do we go beyond just sitting kids in front of a Chromebook while the teacher sits at their desk on their phone or their Chromebook. Like, you have to really do something, do projects and different. So we'll be working on that. But right now, I don't think we do a great job. We have some teachers who do a good job, but district-wide, we're not necessarily where we should be.
Okay, and thank you for the honesty. You know, we need honesty now.
Yes.
So what steps have you already taken, or what steps do you plan to take that will ensure that the staff at Vicksburg Warren School District, their morals remain high?
Well, as educators, we ask our principals to come in and evaluate teachers more. We communicate what our expectations are, and we have a faculty advisory group where myself, Dr. McGee, and Mr. Green meet with teacher representatives monthly to talk about issues and to make sure that there's a line of communication between us and what we expect and the things we're working on, so the teachers understand. And the best way you communicate those expectations and you maintain how more is you practice it yourself.
Correct.
You know, I don't waste much time. I'm always busy and focused on trying to do something positive and productive for the district and for students. So by modeling what we expect, we hope our teachers will do the same thing and make sure that they're taking care of business for our students.
So do you believe that our teachers' morals affect the students' morals?
Absolutely. All of those things are contagious, and it begins with leadership. It begins how I carry myself and the things that I do. That impacts the principals. Principals impact the teachers, and teachers impact the students. So it's a trickle-down effect. And sometimes it takes people time to adjust to high expectations.
Correct.
And I have very high expectations. I was raised with high expectations, and if it were not for those expectations, then I wouldn't be here. So that's the only way I know how to operate. And sometimes it takes people a little while to adjust to, hey, you know, we pay you to do a job, and not only do we expect you to do it, we expect you to do it at a high level. So I give that energy, and we want that same energy back, and we want it not for me. We want that energy back from our educators for our students.
Okay, and also, as a community, we also have to learn that it's not strictly the educator's job to foster our students, but it's also a parent and community thing. So how do you collaborate with, or excuse me, what is the collaborative relationship between the district or yourself and the community?
That's a good question. That's something that I have to do a better job of.
Okay.
I have not done a good job of that, and it actually came out in our strategic framework our strategic planning process that we went into, and I did a lot of self-reflection during that time, and I've got to do a better job. You know, I attend events and different things like that, but I have to do a better job of connecting with our parents as the superintendent, and that's something that I want to focus on next year. So even if they don't show, I need to make myself available. So that's a great question, and that's something that I've got to do a better job at. I have to do a better job at, because I am the superintendent. So we'll be focusing on that.
Okay, speaking of the upcoming school year, what are your priorities as a superintendent for the upcoming school year or the years that you have?
Yes, that's a great question. We have several things that we're working on. We are working on offering the CDL, the truck driving, logistics. So we're in the process of purchasing the simulator. There's some other things you have to purchase to kind of help kids learn how to drive the trucks. We're going to hire the teachers, so we're working on that. I want to look into the possibility of offering offering cosmetology. That's very expensive, very expensive. So we need to try and figure out if we can do that. And then there's some things that we want to do around what's called milestone, cornerstone, and capstone projects that every student will do at the end of the year, where they get up and they talk about how the year went in front of their parents and a group of teachers, and they kind of tracking their learning and their progress through our system. And when they're seniors, they'll do a capstone project, and that capstone project is something that they can take from the Vicksburg Warren School District and go out on an interview and say, I'm Cameron Pollitt, this is who I am, these are the experiences that I've had in my educational career that will help me be successful in this job or in college. So it's about building that system where we're getting kids ready, pre-K all the way through 12th grade, to the point where they walk away from us. So we're looking at putting that system in place and then continuing to work on improving our teachers and helping them get better. And provide better instruction for our students. So those are a few of the things. We got other things. We got a lot of things we're working on. That communication with parents and connecting with the community is another thing. It's in our strategic framework that we'll be working on going forward. So those are a few of the things that we got to work. And there's a whole lot more I could spend time on. Facilities plan and kind of planning out the budget and stuff like that. But my goal is to put systems in place so the great things that we're doing, whether I'm the superintendent or somebody else is here, those great things that benefit our students continue on. Because sometimes what happens in school district, you get a new superintendent in, and no matter what good has been going on, they try and, I want this to be they want to change everything and say, I want it to be about my vision. Well, no, that's not the case. We do some great things here that need to continue.
Right. So you mentioned from pre-K to 12 how you're doing things from pre-K all the way to 12 to help students when they graduate high school. So are they aligning already, or is that the future goal?
That is the future goal. We created a portrait of a graduate, which are 4 skills that we'll start focusing on that we want students to walk out the door with. That's being responsible, that's being able to communicate effectively, that's being adaptable, and that's being able to think critically, like solve problems. Those are the things that help students once they leave us. I'm a former biology teacher. I love biology, but me beating you over the head about mitosis and meiosis and organic compounds and genotype and phenotype, that's good for now. But when you leave us and you go and get a job, can you solve a problem?
Wow.
Can you communicate with people? Those are the things that we're aligning and making sure that it starts in pre-K and students are exposed to it so they perfect it as they go throughout the system, and when they graduate, they can walk out and they know how to shake people's hand and communicate with them effectively, and they're responsible. They know how to be fiscally responsible. Those are the things that we want to focus in on and make sure are aligned so our students are successful when they leave us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have no words for that. That's amazing. And it all leads to when you get to high school and they place you into these different academies. And currently we have HHS, CAB, and ACME.
Yes, sir.
You are already prepared because you've already been receiving the materials that you need in elementary and junior high.
Yes. So how do we get you those skills to go with that academic content and your internships, all that? How do we give you those skills so when you walk out the door, you're successful?
Right. So are they currently also working on making sure each student is in the correct academy? Because I know when I was a freshman, I didn't know where to go.
Yes.
So when I became a sophomore, I said, okay, I want to change my academy.
Yes. Dr. Allen has done a great job here of getting that back aligned. We actually have a baseline review of our academies. That's when the people from the National Career Academy Coalition come in and they look at what we've been doing and they say, hey, you might need to work on this standard or this standard or this standard. So they'll come in and review our academies and tell us where we can get better.
Okay. As you may know, there was a bill proposed that would cause public schools to fund private schools with the money that, of course, private schools make.
Yes.
How would that have affected Vicksburg Warren School District if that bill had passed?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm glad it did not pass, and I hope our students and community get informed on this. Basically, what that means is a student could take money from here and go to a private school, which could take a lot of money away, leave kids here, and we'd have to educate those kids with less money. If you're a taxpayer, that means this: your parents' taxes could also go to pay for students' education who don't live here. Like our citizens in our community invest in our education. Our taxes, they pay pretty good taxes here. But with that bill, a student from Claiborne County, a student from Clinton, a student from another neighboring district could have come to Vicksburg Warren School District and went to school off of the taxes that your folks pay.
Yes.
Which isn't fair. So if you want your education to be private, then you should use your own funds. You should not be able to take public funds and go over here and use public folks, y'all's tax money to pay for somebody else's education. The other part of that is this: they can take that money and go there, but there's no testing, there's no oversight, there's no way to make sure that what we're held accountable for over here, the public, they're not held accountable for the same thing. So, it would have left kids here and us trying to educate them with fewer funds and resources than we currently have. Could have caused our taxpayers. So it was a lot of controversy around that. We spent days in the Capitol talking to legislators about, why we don't need to do this. And I'm glad it worked, but I don't think they're trying. And they're modeling this movement off of what's happening at a national level.
Instead of state level.
Yeah, because the president is all about privatizing education. Well, no, public education. And here's the other part of it. In education in Mississippi, we're doing better than we've ever done in this state. And I've been in 27 years. So why now we're trying to take public money and send it to private schools?
Correct.
So I could talk about that all day, but those are a few of the things that were issues around taking public money to fund private education.
Even towards academics, it would take away, because we're a technology district now.
Yes.
And that would take away from there.
It would take away, you'd have higher class sizes because you take away kids, which would reduce the number of teachers you need, which you'd have to try and fit all of the kids who are left after these leave.
Wow.
So yeah, it would have a major impact. So I hope our folks stay vigilant on it and make sure they contact our local legislators and tell them they don't support it.
Wow, and thank you for helping fight for that.
Yes.
What have you learned, coach, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, superintendent, and you've been in many different boardrooms.
Yeah.
What have you learned as a leader in the educational system?
Well, I've learned that leadership is about people, and you have to have courage to lead. I have to make some tough decisions sometimes. People put me in a situation where I have to make a tough decision on their livelihood, on their job, and I have to make tough decisions every day that impact almost 7,000 kids. So I've learned that the leadership is about people and influence, and that your purpose should be the reason you make decisions. And my purpose is the kids. I show up here every day for our 7,000 students. I don't show up to serve myself. I show up to make decisions on behalf of 7,000 students and 1,000 employees. Now, is that to say everybody's going to agree with what I know? No. There's no way you can make 8,000 different personalities and beliefs happy. But when you make decisions that are grounded in your purpose, 99% of the time they're right. And the other thing is, it's hard for people to understand some of those decisions that leaders have to make because you never sat in that seat.
Right.
I've been a teacher, so I understand how to make those decisions. I've been a principal. I understand what it's like to make decisions at those levels. And leadership, that's another good thing about the experience I've had, is I can make decisions from that perspective because I've done it. I've done all those things. So, but trying to make sure that you keep people in mind and students in mind, and that you have to be courageous because I have to make some tough calls. Yes. A lot of sleepless nights with this job.
So in spite of all of the calamities, in spite of all of those pseudo-intellectual individuals, how do you find that balance? How do you, you have that leadership, that that Dr. Holloway, then you have that, that Tory. How do you find that balance?
Now, that's a good question. You know, I have to put some of my beliefs, my personal beliefs, and there are times that you kind of put those to the side, whether you agree with what needs to be done or not personally. And that's why I say when you make decisions around your purpose, then it makes excluding those things that, you know, may be contradictory to what I believe personally. It makes those decisions easy. So I check my ego at the door and remember that I'm here for kids and for teachers and educators. And again, some people may not understand that or agree with that, but I wouldn't expect them to, because unless you've been there, I don't know what it's like to be a duck because I ain't never been a duck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I understand all those other levels, and I appreciate the fact that our folks trust that we make decisions that's in the best interest of them and our students.
Okay, looking ahead as we prepare to close, you know, that's my preaching voice coming out. As we prepare to close.
Yes, sir.
Looking ahead, how do you envision the school district evolving in the next 5 years, and what role do you hope to play in that evolution?
So, I have a student advisory council that we meet with your own. We meet with 3 times a year. I want to make sure students have a voice in the decisions that are made. We're actually looking at adding a couple of student school board members. That's one of the things we're going to work on. For next year. So I want to make sure student voice is heard. I want to make sure, continue to make sure teachers' voices are heard, and that we are innovative and future focused, and we are including those voices in the decisions that we're making going forward. The other thing that I've been trying to focus on is this. When I got here, I told our folks that I want us to be a school district, not a district of schools.
Wow.
And it shouldn't matter where you live. Our citizens should feel comfortable sending their students to any school in this district and know that they're going to get quality teaching, quality leadership from our principals and assistant principals, and that their kids are going to be successful no matter where that is in this district. So trying to get us all on the same page, making sure kids are having the same exposure to great opportunities, great teachers, so this district can be successful, which makes this community successful, is another thing that, that we'll continue to focus on while I'm here.
Okay, you have thought about making an alumni board, for the people?
That has to be started. There are districts who have alumni associations.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was in Starkville, they had an alumni association. Moss Point School District has an alumni association, and what they do is they raise money they give out scholarships to the schools, and they support projects that teachers want to do in the school district. Wow. So yeah, there are districts. Not Clinton, Petal, I think, has a pretty good alumni association.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping somebody in our community will start that, because we've got so much other stuff that we're working on.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah, that's right. So we have so many other things that we're working on to try and make sure that this district remains one of the best districts in the state. And, I know our people complain about this district sometime, but here's the thing. They've been here the whole time. I've worked in 6 other school districts, and I know how good our district is, despite some of the dissatisfaction that some of our people have. They ought to go to some of the places I've been. They would run to get back to Vicksburg Warren School District. So I hope they appreciate what we're trying to do and where we're going.
Dr. Holloway, I thank you for being with us on this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
And as we close, we're going to close with you. Could you encourage somebody to continue to strive for greatness just as you have and climb to heights unknown? Yes.
So, we get 24 hours, 7 days a week to make a difference. And the purpose, the goal in life is to find your voice and the purpose in life is to give it away. So we all have something that makes us great and makes us unique. That's why when I meet students, one of the first questions I ask them is, what makes you great? And all 6,000 kids, 7,000 kids and 1,000 employees, every one of us have something that makes us great. And we need to utilize that. God gives everybody potential, and what we do with it is our gift back to God. So I hope we're sowing good seeds with what He's given us and making a difference in not only our own lives, but the people that we come in contact with daily and our communities as well.
Dr. Holloway, thank you once again. Everyone, don't forget, have a vision, devise a strategy, and execute with excellence. Thank you for watching.